All right, what up, everybody? We live tonight, and it's Super Bowl Sunday. But we on purpose tonight. That's what it's about. We on assignment tonight. So while my wife is at home watching the game, I ain't with her. I'm out here talking to y'all tonight. And so tonight we are talking about the three keys to a successful relationship. I got my good friend Jordan LaRose in the house of the MVP room. He's going to be sharing with us and talking with us and just expounding on some of these things. So I pray that this would be a conversation that would bless you in this Valentine's season and that we can really build our relationships, especially in a time where there is a lot of divisiveness going on. There's a lot of struggle. I know a lot of people who are struggling with their relationships, even in their marriages and everything like this. So I pray that this conversation would encourage you, would be an exhortation to you, and you would just be blessed to live in love and to live in the best relationships that you could possibly live in. All right. So I'm going to bring Jordan on in just about 2 seconds, and we are going to have this conversation. All right, guys, let's do this. All
Hey,
right, Mr. LaRose, how are you?
hey, man, I'm doing good, man. How are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm glad that you're here, man. I'm glad that you're on. So, just to start off, before we jump into the conversation, I need you to give me that audio bumper because this is the vlog, this is the video, but you know what? This is actually going to go to my audio podcast as well. And I love to start off the podcast with our guest voice. So, you're going to just give me, and we can see if you're going to be able to do this in one shot, in one take or not. But it's all good if you can't do it in one take. Trust me, there's only one other guest who was actually able to do this in one take, to be
All
honest.
right, we're
My
gonna try
pastor
it.
shot it in one take. I was like, wow, that's amazing. But you're going to give me like, this is Jordan LaRose from Dream Nation and the MVP room. And I'm here with my good brother and friend, Mark Wong at Kingdom Revolution. You can give me that energy?
All right, let's go. Let's do it, man.
All right, all right. So I'll leave it to you. I'm going to put myself on mute and
All
I'll
right,
count you down. All right.
all right, cool. My name is Jordan L.A. Rose from Dreamers Nation and the MVP Room, and I'm here with the one and only my brother, Mr. Mark Wong from Kingdom Revolution, y'all.
That was excellent. All right, I'm gonna be able to edit that
All
and
right,
chop that. One take, LA Rose. That's
that's
it.
right.
That's what's up. One take.
Yes, sir.
That's good. That's good. So let's hop right into it. Tell us about yourself. Tell us what you do. What's your purpose? What drives you in the morning when you wake up? What are you about? Let the people know.
Awesome. So in 2018, or actually no, 2008, I would say, I was in the place in my life where it's like, you know what? I want to know who I am. I want to know what my purpose is. I want to know God for myself. Because you grow up in church and you're always surrounded by people, and their ways of viewing God. And so you kind of are on the back burner of what other people think. But I was at the place, especially when I was graduating from high school, I'm like, you know what? I want to know who I am for real, and not just because I grew up with a family in church and what. No, no, I want to know who I am. And so ever since that, I've been on that journey, and I've been talking to a lot of people, working with youth, and seeing the struggles with youth, and seeing the struggles with millennials in my generation, and even people old enough to be my parents. And I realized that this purpose thing was a huge issue. I'm like, it didn't matter if people were black, white, didn't matter the religion, didn't matter the age. It's like this thing was a huge thing. And so a passion over the years began to stir up in me that, you know what, this is a huge issue that I feel deep in my heart I need to solve. This worldwide issue that a lot of people don't know what their purpose is. A lot of people don't know who they are. A lot of people don't know what their true identity is. And I felt like, you know what, I need to fix this. This is something I need to do. So that's what led me to actually write my book, because I really wanted to really help people with their purpose. And the beautiful thing is, as I wrote this book to really begin to, fulfill my purpose, that's when Dreamers Nation name came as I was writing my book. And so really pretty much the Dreamers Nation it's a business and a company really to reach out to people to really help them in their journey on personal level, on a spiritual level, as well as an entrepreneurship level. Because I've worked with different people where some people can't even think about dreams and goals because they have so much going on. And then there are some people who are ready for dreams and goals. So that's kind of what my purpose is I have a blueprint that I've been given to help other people find their blueprint, right? And what God has created them to do and what God has created them to be. I have that skill set, that gift to really tap into the strengths of people and encourage them and uplift them and give them a guidance and a plan to really figure out who they are. Because I started my journey since 2008. Yeah, it's 2022 now. And I now know what I need to do now. And I'm still growing, still learning. We all are, right? So I would say my purpose is to help other people crack their code. That's why my book is called Code 245. So my code is to help people unlock their code of purpose. Yeah. So that's what I do. That's me.
I like that. That's awesome. That's awesome. So Code 245, tell us a little bit more about it because the book's about to release in a couple days.
In spring.
In spring. Yes, but you're having a webinar in a couple days.
Yes.
On the 15th.
On the 15th, yes.
Okay, so just literally a couple days from today. Tell us a little bit more about the concept for the book and what you are believing for. What will happen to people when they read and engage this material and tap into the webinar and everything like that?
Absolutely. So the book Code 245, so it comes from two inspirations. What I just told you not too long ago. And the second inspiration was a dream I had. So in 2018, I had a dream in February. And I'll tell you the end part of the dream because that's where the 245 is about. So long story short, an older gentleman came up to me in the dream and said, this is the door that you're going to go to, right? You're going to go through this prison. I was like, what? Prison? I'm like, why am I going to prison? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, don't worry about that. You're going to go through and this is the door that you're going to go to. And he's like, don't get distracted, right? And he warned me 3 times. And guess what happened? I got distracted, right? So I never actually went to my door, right? So I was in this prison environment, constantly looping, and the dream would reset and I would loop again, never getting to the door of my purpose. And the people who were following me towards this door eventually left because I wasn't going to my door of purpose to help these people who were with me in the dream. So one by one, they were going away because I wasn't fulfilling my purpose, right? And then when I woke up from the dream, I was in the dream, I was in fear, I was in intimidation inside the dream, and the dream ended. So I actually never got to my door. So when I woke up in 2018, in February of 2018, I said, nope. I was like, this is not going to be me, bro. And I'm telling you, a month later, I started writing the book because I'm like, I said, nah. I said, no, this is a warning.
The dream gave you a sense of urgency.
What?
That's one way you know the dream's from the Lord. When you get a sense of urgency, like I gotta do something with my life right now.
Yes.
So, no, that's blessed. That's amazing. Okay, so that was the inception of the book.
Yeah.
Now I know you're a life purpose coach, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
I guess what you're believing for is that people's purposes will be unlocked as they engage in material.
Absolutely. Because here's the thing. A lot of us are struggling with the image that we're supposed to be. The God created image that we're supposed to be versus the image that people think we should be. That's the issue.
Yeah.
That's the biggest issue.
Yeah.
And so in 2018, the dream was telling me that if I didn't go to this door of purpose, I would loop in this cycle of what people thought I should be and not what I'm supposed to become.
Yeah.
That was what God was showing me, that you're going to now, because there was a person in the dream that said, don't go to 245, don't go to this door, don't go to this door. But the image of the person is someone that I recognized. So I got complacent and I got, you know what? Because I know this person, I'm going to listen to this person instead of this old man that was warning me not to get distracted. But because I was so comfortable with the face of the person, that was also urgency. The person had urgency in the dream. Don't go to 245. Don't go. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't go because, you know, he's right. But guess what happened? I started looping. right?
Yeah.
So we're all struggling between the image of who we were always created to be. And that's what the premise of the book is really surrounding. I use the image of a butterfly. And
Yeah.
I use the image of the butterfly to say that every person is supposed to be transformed. You're supposed to get your metamorphosis and become this butterfly. And when you look at a caterpillar and a butterfly, it's completely different. When you look at a butterfly, you cannot see the caterpillar. You
Yeah.
cannot, you know. So my hope and my hope and desire is that when people read this book, it begins to change their way of thinking. Like, whoa, wait a minute. You know what? I can become this butterfly too. Wait a minute. Let me now take an inventory of my life and what I've done and what I've gone through, and it will help people to say, wait, maybe I've gone through a loop too in my life and a cycle in certain relationships. I find myself in the same cycle of relationships and I can't break out. And why am I always getting this type of person? Why am I always getting this type of result? Right? Because we're in this prison type of environment in our lives.
Yeah.
And so I want this book to begin to help people to break out of that prison, just like that dream where
That's
I didn't break out.
Wow.
I was looping too. So that's why that urgency after that dream, I said, nope. And so me becoming a life purpose coach now is to now reach people who also will never set foot in a church, who will never go online and watch a sermon.
Yeah.
But when they come with the life coaching experience, there's going to be some spiritual stuff that is going to touch them.
That was going to be my next question, basically, is how does your faith inform your business and your practice and what it is that you're doing?
Absolutely. So as I was already going into that, right?
Yeah.
Because the thing about it is this: if we look at nature, if we look at whatever you want to call it, cosmos, universe, there is an intelligent design. Okay. And this intelligent design didn't randomly just come into existence on its own. You understand what I'm saying? So me being a life purpose coach, I'm getting people to understand from a very basic level, whether they're religious or not, that you are a created person. You have a purpose, and purpose doesn't come from nothing. It comes from a creator, right? Anyone that is a creator gives purpose to creation, right? Like I give purpose to Dreamers Nation. Right? Me, the founder, right, gives purpose to Dreamers Nation. Me, the author of Code 245, gives purpose to the book. And the book would not exist, and Dreamers Nation would not exist. Hence, I came up with the plan to bring it to life. So likewise, I use that concept, whether they're a believer or not, to get them to understand that there are certain principles that just work, period. And I'm getting them to understand these principles, so that they'll begin to understand spiritual stuff and personal stuff and things with life. So that's how I incorporate a faith-based perspective to anybody who I'm talking to. Because at the end of the day, I believe every human has a purpose, whether you know it or not. So that's what I do. That's how I incorporate it.
That's amazing. That's good. So today we're going to talk a bit about relationships. And you have this group online called the MVP Room, which I love. And you made this wonderful post singing just a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
A happy birthday to your wife.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what inspired you to make that post. If you guys don't follow this man on Facebook, you need to follow this man, Jordan L.A. Rose. Follow him on Facebook. Get in the MVP Room, because there's a lot of great conversation and discussion going on in there. But tell us a little bit about the MVP Room. Tell us about what inspired you to sing and rap and do what you do. And tell us a little bit about your relationship with your wife. How'd you meet her?
Yes. All right. We're going to go there. All right. So let's start with the MVP Room. So the MVP Room is connected to actually the book, in the sense that I have a lot of concepts and a lot of principles that I wrote in my book. And there was a time where I was doing a study on love, faith, and hope. Right. So I was doing a study on love, faith, and hope. And I remember I went to my wife one time. I said, yo, I want to start a group. This was like a few years ago. I'm like, yo, I'm going to start a group. It's going to be MVP for life. And then she's like, that's a cool name. And then we started to, converse and talk about it. And she's like, what about the MVP Room? Right. Because there's many rooms in the Father's house. So call it the MVP Room. And I went, woo. I said, yo, that's it. You know what I'm saying? So
I like
it,
that.
so we call it the MVP room, and then the subtitle would be MVP room for life, relationships, and community building. So
Okay.
that's kind of where it came from. So it stems from the book in terms of principles. And so my wife had talked about it together, and that's how we got the MVP room. Now, in terms of the happy birthday now, so the funny thing is the inspiration behind the happy birthday song came actually before, where I was going to make a song because I forgot to say happy birthday to somebody else. And so the inspiration came to come up with a jingle. But then I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm not going to do the jingle, whatever. But then when her birthday came around, the inspiration came back, and I said, you know what? I'm going to finish this little jingle, and I'm going to create this song just, to send some positive vibes and just share with people to show my love and appreciation from wife. Because my background is musician. From I came out the womb, I was drumming, had pencils and pens and,
Okay.
all that kind of stuff. So I guess that's where you could say the inspiration came from. Just to share my joy and love with my.
I definitely saw the talent on the video. I was like,
yeah,
okay, this guy got it going on.
Thanks, bro. Yeah. And what was your last question? Oh, how did I meet my wife?
Yes.
Okay. So I actually knew my wife's family before I actually knew my wife. So what I ended up happening is I was with my uncle, and we went to my wife's house, and I saw her maybe once, and she at the time she didn't associate with me or anybody or anything like that. It was just like a hi. That was it. Like, and then when I looked at her, I was like, oh, okay, she's all right, But that was it. It wasn't like because her boyfriend was there at the time, and it was a completely two different worlds.
Yeah.
Right. So a few years later passed, and her family started to go into the same church as me, right? And so she started coming around, bro. And that's when I was just like, man, like, you know what I'm saying? There was just this connection that I never felt for any woman. It's like a drawing. It's like I knew her before I knew her. Right. Yeah. It's like there was this love I had for her that I couldn't mentally fathom that there's something drawing me to this woman. And if I miss this opportunity to talk to her and get to know her, I'll be missing everything. So that's how we connected. We connected at church. And you know what the thing is? The joke is she was she's still a hairstylist. She was a hairstylist at the time. And I said to her, I wanted to make a jingle, make some kind of jingle to help her out. So I went to her house, and her mom was there, and we're pretending it was the jingle thing, but really there's interest there. But we're using the jingle that I was going to create for her company at the time, where you
gotta use whatever God has given you. That is the key. You gotta use whatever God has given you, bro. We just celebrated 6 years of marriage yesterday, actually. So our anniversary is during this whole Valentine's season.
Nice.
So yesterday we kind of hung out a little bit, and able to get the kids to bed a little earlier so we could watch movies and this and that. But when I first met my wife and I wanted to get it in, I wrote her a poem, man. Like we went down to the C&E. That was on our little first date. I had some family members with us or whatever. It was like a group thing. And I'll never forget, we went to watch The Strong Man. And The Strong Man, he took a horseshoe, bro. He took a horseshoe and he bent it with his two hands. He just took it with
for real,
and bent it into a heart, bro. He bent it
into a heart. Word.
Right? And so I was so inspired by this, but I was like a little nervous because I didn't want to like just buy it or ask if I could get it. So the next day, on the Sunday after church, it was the last day at C&E, I ran down there and I bought the horseshoe. I went back to the show and I was like, yo, horseshoe strong man, when you bend this horseshoe for me, you gotta sell it to me. I think it was like $20. It's like $20 for the horseshoe, whatever.
Nice.
So I bought that horseshoe. I wrote this poem called Horseshoe Lovin'. And it was
bro, you might inspire me. You
gotta use what you got. Well, you gotta use what you got. But the poem was prophetic, like it was talking about how the Lord was gonna bend our hearts together, just like how this strong man bent the two ends of the horseshoe together. Like it was just crazy, right?
Nice.
And I've literally actually seen that through the past 6 years. Like it's been a process of forming, of like bending literally our hearts together. So it's pretty crazy. But man, that's one key for all the young men who are on here who are watching this, even in the replay. Use what you got.
Use what you got.
If you're a poet, if you're an artist, whatever you are, just use it, man.
Trust me, it works, man. It works.
So that's awesome. All right, let's jump a little bit deeper into this conversation. So, what is your advice for, let's say, a young man, a young woman? They may be attracted to one another. What is your advice for them in how they should proceed with, dating or courting, whatever language you want to use? What is your advice for them?
My advice first would be to make sure you're ready. I'll give you an example. I actually had another conversation yesterday, and the girlfriend I had at the time when I was 18 to about 20 went through a lot with that person. And so I got to the place where I was spiritually, emotionally, mentally just drained, And I think a lot of times, young men and young women, they rush in to relationships, or they rush in because there's a void or there's something they want to try to fix. So they oftentimes feel that it can be fixed with the person that they're liking. So yeah. I my first thing would be is make sure you're good, because what ends up happening is you might get yourself into situations that you might not be able to control. And two, you then might be hurt again. Right. And that's why, just like what I said with the loophole in that prison environment, right? A lot of people still find themselves in the same situation over and over, because there's the lessons that you should be learning to grow out of it. You're not. Yeah. So you're finding yourself attracting the same person, the same kind of people over and over, which means you should now, as a young man and a young woman, say, hold on, you should wait a minute. Why is the same type of person coming every single time I'm interested in someone? That the same similar characteristics, the same, they don't have respect for me, or the same, they just want to just get into my pants, or whatever the case. Why is it always this? What is it about me that I haven't figured out, or how do I see myself? Right. And I'm not saying, it's going to be perfect. When I met my wife, I wasn't perfect. I wasn't like, all good and dandy. But what I'm saying is I took time. Yeah. I took some time. And because, as a matter of fact, after that relationship between 18 and 20 years old, I was done with relationships. I said, forget that. I'm going to just focus on me. I'm going to do me. Sometimes that's us young men do that when we get hurt. I'm going to do me. You know? And so I would just encourage at the beginning is really take time for yourself and to know yourself, know your value. Because what happens is, if you don't know your value, it's going to be easy. Right. And we can even talk about parental stuff of like, parents not encouraging and uplifting their children. So when a man comes and say, I'll bring you to McDonald's, you understand? Like McDonald's is, that's 5-star for some women, because they were not taught by their fathers how to be loved and treated. So so a man doesn't need to do much. Or likewise with a man doesn't know how to treat a woman because he never saw a man treat a woman properly. You feel me? Yeah. So I would encourage people, if you are a young man and you're a young woman, it's okay to like somebody, but just take your time, man. Take your time to know yourself and who you really are and your worth before you jump in.
That's a big key. That's a key. If we're going to talk keys tonight, that's one key. Make sure you are ready. And, I have a similar story even in myself. Last night we watched The Notebook. And it was my first.
The Notebook.
Classic.
I know.
You gotta watch that movie on your anniversary. Right. And I realized that movie came out in 2004. Now I'm feeling old. I'm like, wow, 2004 is a while back. But that movie came out in 2004. I've never watched the movie before, right? She's like, I can't believe you've never watched the movie.
I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, either. Okay. So there you go. So she felt special, like, your first time you're gonna watch a Notebook is with your wife, and that's who it should be with, right? And I was thinking, why haven't I watched this movie before? 2004, I was just coming out of a horrible breakup. I actually gave my heart to the Lord in that year. So it was part of that. I was coming out of a horrible breakup, and I was going through exactly what you're saying. I'm going to do me. So like the Notebook thing was so far away from my reality or existence at that point that I just never got around to actually watching that movie. But really enjoyed it. It was a great movie. But
really nice. I always say, I'm like, you know what? I'm not watching this movie. It seems cheesy. It seems,
Yeah. A little bit, but you got to do stuff that your wife likes. That might be
Yes,
another key. So
I
we
agree.
watched Notebook, and last night I ate sushi. And you know what? I'm not a sushi man. You know what I mean? But she
Mm,
likes. I was like, all right, I'm gonna give into it. She knows I have my personal reasons why I don't like sushi. Yo, I'll tell you the story. I'll tell you the story. We'll move on real quick. When I was a little kid, When I was a little kid, there was this Japanese family that lived in the neighborhood. They were moving out, right? And I don't know if this is a Japanese custom, but when they were leaving, they brought a gift to our family because we related so well. They loved our family. They brought a gift when they were leaving. So we were like, oh, wow, you're bringing us a gift. That's different. They brought us like authentic sushi. Like it was like the real deal,
the
right?
real deal.
Yeah, the real deal. And then they had the wasabi. Now, me as a little kid, I was probably like 7, 8 years old. I didn't know what that wasabi was. Right? I didn't know what was really good. It was, and the way it was shredded, it was shredded. It wasn't like pasty like some of this wasabi that you get nowadays. It was shredded, so it kind of looked like coleslaw to me, right?
Right.
So I just grabbed it and put it in my mouth like a. I was I was going crazy, bro. They gave me water. Like, what's wrong? He's like, oh, the man's like, you ate the wasabi. You ate the wasabi. They gave me water. Water just made it even worse. They're like, yo, milk, right? I grabbed a carton of milk and just started guzzling down. My mom didn't even get upset with me because she could see how visibly like flush I was.
Right.
But since then, I've kind of come up, like I don't really get into the Japanese food since that experience, right? If you want to get me Asian food, I love Korean bar. I eat Korean food all day. But last night I gave in and I
gave in.
Thing.
Nice.
Yeah, so nice. But it was good. It was all right. It was pretty good.
Was it the raw one or the cooked one?
I didn't even know, man. Like the rolls, it's like the sushi rolls. So I don't know if those things are cooked or whatever, but there was like a bunch of different rolls and we ate it. So it was all good. So sometimes you have to do those things, you know what I mean? Here's a question for you. And I don't know if there's a precise or exact answer to this, but when you get engaged, or how long should somebody court or date before getting engaged? How about that? Let's go with that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now let's as you said, there's no time limit to this question, but I was actually not too long ago, my wife and I, we watched this show called Love is Blind.
Okay.
And so pretty much these people, they come together, they're in these pods, and you're not allowed to see any of their physical attributes, like zero. It's just straight. You're in a pod, someone else is in a pod, and it's just straight talking. No pictures, no phones, nothing. It's just all in. And a lot of these people, or some of these people, end up, and the thing about the show is, if you find someone you like or love, whatever the case is, the guy has to then ask for her hand in marriage, meaning they become engaged. So this is days worth. So it's about a 10-day experiment. And then after they engage, it's 4 weeks until marriage. Right? So
I gotta watch this show. That's crazy. It's on Netflix, right?
It's on Netflix.
Yeah, I've seen it. I never took it in. Okay.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So, and a lot of times when you hear these people talk, they're like, I wonder these relationships that I've had in the real world, did I really love these people? Because I know more about this person in 2 days than I knew about some people in 3 months, maybe even more, right? And so now they were at such a powerful emotional connection in the show that they can truly get engaged and really connect with each other, and then they finally see each other for the first time. You know, so my answer would be is I thought it would take long.
Yeah,
I thought it would take years, but it's not true. Look at when what's his name saw Rachel, he immediately loved her, yo. He's like, he cried, bro.
Yeah,
he cried. You understand what I'm saying? So I feel it doesn't take long, but I think because of society and because of maybe a lot of people's experiences, and maybe some people haven't had a lot of healing, the process to get married takes a lot longer than it should. Like for me, it took 5 years, bro.
Yeah.
Because I was as I said, I came out of a relationship that I just mentioned, and I was still in my process of healing. And when I met her, I was in a better place,
Yeah.
but I wasn't that focused enough to say, "Yo, I should marry her now." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I won't put a time limit on it, but I would say is honestly, if people were really serious, you can get married honestly within a year.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
if you put in the work, though.
Yeah.
If you put in the
Yeah,
work.
you know what? I think it goes back to that first key of readiness because it took me around the same time. It was about 4.5 years before we got engaged. And I found that I was I was timid. I was scared to I'll be honest, I was scared to make that leap. Even though I knew she was the one, she was everything I
Mm,
prayed for, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like still timid or still scared. And I kind of got put in a pressure cooker and I'm like, I gotta do this. Let's make this happen a one way or another. And we did that. But
mhm.
man, like it's so real. The more prepared that you are as a person, I think the lesser time that it needs to
Right.
take.
I
So
agree.
that is a key. Here's another one. What would you say? And maybe you can share some stories because I know you have some amazing stories on your website and everything like that. You guys got to check that out. That's dreamersnation.com. Some of the links are actually in the show info, by the way, to connect with Jordan and everything like that. We're really going to encourage you to do that. But what would you say to couples, to people who are in relationships who are struggling right now? I know it's been a difficult time with COVID. There's been a lot of divisiveness, and it's
Mhm.
been playing out in different ways. Divorce rates are even creeping up a little bit. People are breaking up and things like that. What would you say to people who are in a relationship that might be struggling a little bit?
I think that's a powerful question because I remember since March of 2020, um, I think what has happened with our societies is that because we're so busy and we're always working, a lot of people's relationships are used to not spending a lot of time with their spouse and and the relationships that they have. And ever since the whole COVID thing hit, it's now you had to be faced with
Mm,
things that you were never didn't have to deal with because
yeah,
I'm at work for 9 hours
yeah,
or I have a night shift. So I don't need to deal with certain things, you know. And so the pressure now, and even with kids too,
yeah,
where your kids were gone for majority of the day,
yeah.
and now
Come
they're
on,
constantly
it's a
in the
different reality.
house.
Yeah, it's different reality.
It's different, right?
Yeah,
So in terms of talking to couples in terms of encouraging them, I said, I think it takes a humility thing because sometimes we don't want to fess up that we're going through stuff.
yeah,
We don't want to own that we're going through stuff. And oftentimes, especially, keep it 100. Sometimes, often with Black people, we
yeah.
don't want to get no therapy. We don't
Mm,
want no, because we sometimes over spiritualize things that we don't want to actually look at the actual psychological aspects of things because no, God has it and he will fix it. And I'm not saying he won't,
yeah.
but then you're still in it though.
Mm,
So something has to change that you're not processing mentally and emotionally and psychologically, but you're just spiritualizing everything. So I would say as advice is, especially if it's believers that is watching this too, is get the help you need. You're not less of a person. Your relationship is not whack because you found someone to help you. And I think that's the problem in the Black community oftentimes is
yeah,
that we don't go for help. We don't
that's good.
reach out to people because we want to keep up with the Joneses. We want
Mm,
to look good, for social media and Instagram, and that's one of the things I thank God for me and my wife is that we keep it real as possible with each other.
yeah,
When we're going through issues and concerns with our relationship, we're not afraid to address them together. So I would say have an open line. I'm probably going into some
yeah. No,
tips,
no,
but
yeah,
I would say get the help you need and be honest with each other. I
yeah.
honestly, honesty will go a long way.
I think the word that encapsulates that the best is vulnerability.
Mm,
Because that's something that's hard to come by sometimes, because emotionally you may not want to open up that way,
mm,
but I find that if you keep it real, right? And
mm,
if, like you were saying, and if you preface the vulnerability. Like, hey,
Mm.
babe, I want to talk to you about something that's been on my heart for a little bit. You know, if you
Mhm.
just come out and just spew out what you're feeling, sometimes you might
Right.
get a bad reaction. This is what I've learned, at least. You might get a
Right.
reaction that just crushes you, and then
Right.
you go back into yourself. But you
True,
know what I
true.
mean? But if you actually preface what you're
Mhm.
trying to say and kind of prepare somebody's heart and mind to hear something that you're going to
Mm.
open up, then oftentimes you can have those fruitful and valuable conversations that happen when you're being vulnerable with each other.
Mhm.
So
Right, exactly.
I think that's big time. I think that's real amazing. So I know we covered a couple of keys, right? I think, you know, being prepared and your personal readiness to approach a relationship is important. I
Mhm.
think vulnerability, being honest, real, and raw with each other is super important. Is there any other key or keys? I did only say three. I think we got two out of this conversation so far. So we got to give them another one. But if you have even one more other than that, we can keep it moving. So is there any other key that you think is really important when it comes to successful relationships?
Absolutely. I'll share. I'll probably share more than one.
Yeah.
But one of the first ones that I think is extremely important, and the journey that my wife and I have had, if we count the entire journey, it's 10 years this year, and
Mm,
5 years in September will be 5 years married. So if we count the
awesome.
entire journey
Yeah.
from dating exclusively till right now, it's
Yeah.
10 years. So we appreciate the 10 years that we've been together, not just when our marriage started.
Yeah.
And from year one, I
Mm,
told my wife, I said, communicate.
yeah.
I said, even if you see, because I knew myself enough then, I said to her, even if I react negatively, have a hissy fit, or I said, always communicate with me.
Yeah.
Tell me how you feel. It doesn't matter how I feel. You
Okay.
tell me. And ever since that, bro, we've been doing that for 10 years.
That's good.
Communication is key. And I remember she said something that was very powerful. She said that the number one reason why people, I think she even has a video of on MVP Room,
Mm,
where one of the reasons why, the number one reason why people break up is not because of finances, right? Because you see finances as probably number one. It's
yeah.
the communication. People are
Yeah.
not communicating about finances. That's
Mm,
why they break up. It's not the finances themselves, it's the lack of communication about finances that
mm.
causes the issues concerning finances. So
Wow.
really, at the end of the day, it's about communication. So that
Okay.
would be that if I didn't give anything else,
Yeah.
communicate. And it goes back to what we were saying about being real and
Yeah.
being open and being honest to be able to communicate. Yeah, there's times where I say I need a moment because
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to effectively communicate this because I'm mad right now or I'm
Yeah.
annoyed at you. So
Yeah.
just give me 5 minutes,
Mm,
but I will always communicate. And that's what we've always done. That anytime I didn't want to hear it, both of us always communicated. And that's the beautiful thing about our relationship is communication. Can I give another one?
yeah, for sure.
Okay. Another one, this is where
Bonus.
bonus.
You are getting a bonus right now.
I'm gonna give a bonus because I think this one is also very key. I'm gonna say one word, and it might sound simple, but it's actually very powerful. Balance.
Mm,
Balance. Balance between who each person is, balance between what each person brings to the relationship, balance between all aspects of each person. That takes a lot of work to
yeah.
balance two lives into
Mm,
one,
yeah.
and what is your role as a husband? What is your role as a wife? And every dynamic is different based off, yes, there are certain principles of husband and wife, but then there's other things that are unique to your relationship.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, whether it's principles or preference, there is a balance between principles and preference that I
Okay.
believe every person needs to have in their relationship. Because think about it. A lot of the reasons why people struggle in relationships because something is not balanced.
Mm,
Emotions are not balanced. There's something that's lacking,
yeah.
right? think about it. Okay, I'm emotionally drained because why? Something's lacking, or I need this because something is lacking. Balance, I'm telling you, bro, is the one of the biggest keys, and that's where couples will get chemistry. Because once you get that balance, you're gonna have some those sparks are gonna
Yeah.
be there, and it's tough to keep the
Yeah.
balance. So I would say
Yeah.
balance.
I think that is such a big key, balance. And I'm going to even throw another word into that idea of balance is rhythm. When you start to figure out the rhythms of your lives and how each other rolls, and this may take time, it could take years, not even like months, it could take years to really figure out certain rhythms and how this person rolls, what one's purpose, what one's goals, what one's intentions are. Those things take time as well. But when you find that rhythm, I think it's a lot easier to achieve the balance that you're talking about. We've just really started to make certain strides in that area of rhythm, and we're finding greater measures of balance as we
Nice,
understand each other's routines. So I'm
nice,
seeing that even in my own marriage relationship as well. That's big.
nice. Can I give a second bonus? I'll give
Sure,
one.
sure. Go
Give.
on.
We're just gonna give two bonuses for them. But I think it's important because my wife and I, we did premarital counseling, right? And one thing we took from premarital counseling, if we didn't take anything else, right, is honor. Can you honor your spouse? Will you honor your spouse?
Yeah.
That was the one key. We're like, yo, we're going to actively honor each other. So when I disrespect her or if she disrespects me and each person lets the person know that happened, we're going to automatically work towards the honor because we're like, oh man, boom, sorry. Humble ourselves to say, you know what? Nah, we're going to honor this person. I'm going to honor my wife. She's going to honor me. And as a matter of fact, we kind of had that in the beginning of our relationship where our goal was never to let the sun go down being angry.
Yeah.
Right. Because we know that the little leaven eventually, and that's why a lot of relationships end because all the small things never got dealt with. So now when something else comes, it becomes this big snowball effect that you wonder, why are you snapping? But all those things over the years, the dishonor that was happening over the years, So I would say honor, honestly, is super important. And don't wait until things escalate. Try to deal with it as fast as you can. So I would say that's my last one.
That's good. That's amazing, bro. I literally shivered when you said it. I don't know if the room's cold or if the spirit of God just hit me or what happened. But I'm just like, yo, for real, honor's a real one. We gotta take that one to heart. So just as a quick recap, for those who are looking to get in a relationship, make sure you're ready as an individual, as a person. Vulnerability, being real, being raw, being authentic is important. Communication, can't talk about that enough. I mean, you got to open up, you got to talk about everything that you're trying to do. You gave us honor. Was there another one that you gave us?
So I said honor, communication, and balance.
Balance, that was it. Balance, finding those rhythms in life and understanding that. So that's even 5. Look at that. I promoted for 3 and we got 5. So that's awesome. Jordan, I want to thank you so much for taking the time on this beautiful Sunday evening to come out here and share your wisdom and your stories. Let us know how we can connect with you real quick.
Absolutely. So I am on the Facebook page. I have Instagram and I have LinkedIn's for those who are business professionals, entrepreneurs. And you can type in Dreamers Nation Official. So if you want to see me on Facebook page, Instagram or LinkedIn, it was Dreamers Nation Official. It's actually, you can see it at the bottom there.
Awesome.
In terms of the MVP room, you can go on YouTube and just type in the MVP room and you'll see a yellow and black symbol. That is us. You can subscribe and tune in. We got some videos. We're going to start doing some more videos soon. And we actually have a Facebook page. You can also type in the MVP and you'll see us as well. So that's how you can connect with us. You can on my personal page, Jordan L.A. Rose, on my personal Facebook page. And I actually have a TikTok, a Dreamers Nation official TikTok, where I share
Okay.
some wisdom and some
So
little
you're
knowledge.
hitting it on all levels.
I'm trying
Okay.
to think, So
That's
if you want to
good.
get some wisdom and little tips as well, you can type in TikTok, Dreamers Nation official, and you'll see some stuff there as well.
That's amazing, bro. So tell us a little bit about the webinar, because the link is in the show info. I want people to sign up. That's on Tuesday, guys, at 7. So it's literally the hour before the Omega hour. So you can go to Jordan at 7, get your blueprint, get your purpose on, and then get the end time message at 8. So we on it. We on it, man. But yeah, let's hear a little bit more about the webinar. And let people know to sign up.
Absolutely. So the webinar it's the Code 245 Blueprint webinar. And what I've recognized with my book is that my book is actually a roadmap, a blueprint. Okay. And so what I'm going to do in this webinar is I'm going to share and reveal I've never done this before. I'm going to reveal the concepts and principles from my book that are actually going to help people with their purpose, with direction in their life. I've already mentioned a little bit about the butterfly. I go into detail a little bit more about that process of becoming the butterfly and steps of how to become that butterfly. And I have different equations that I've come up with concerning vision for your life. I come up with an equation. I'm going to give a little sneak peek. Vision, I'm just going to give the equation, and you come and you sign up for free, and you'll hear more about it. But I have an equation for vision is imagination plus creativity equals vision.
Okay.
Imagination plus creativity equals vision. When you see it, you can create it, and then it will become your vision. So I'm going to go into a little bit of detail with that, because I go into a little bit of detail in my book with vision as well. So I'm going to uncover all bases with this Code 245 blueprint, and I promise you it's going to change your life. It's going to change your perspective. And it's going to help. It's really going to help people. And I've already been helping people. So I know it's going to help you guys. So
that's amazing, bro. I'm going to actually push this out to all my channels to let people know that this is happening. All my WhatsApp groups, and everybody's going to hear about it. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to pop in there too, because I need to hear more. So you're going to have me in there. I'll have you in my ear while I'm setting up everything for my show. I'll have you in my ear, and I'll be taking it in.
Awesome.
So
awesome.
I really look forward to that as well. Can you please pray for us real quick, and just pray for the audience and whoever's listening to this?
No problem. Yeah. So Father God, I come before you. I thank you for this moment. I thank you that you are so good. I thank you that you use every opportunity to allow people to know who they are and who you are. I thank you that every single listener that is listening to this right now, that there is a fire that either has never been lit before or needs to be rekindled, that even during this time, that they will want to discover exactly what you've created them to be. You have given every person a specific blueprint of what you want them to be and what you want them to accomplish. I thank you for Mark Wong and his vision and what you've placed in his heart and the people that he is meant to impact and to influence in their lives. I thank you for each and every listener, that this day forward, God, that they will know their purpose. They will know the direction for their life, because God, it is a journey. It is a journey. Yes. And I thank you that in this journey, they will know more of who you are for themselves, not because someone said or he said or she said, but they will discover who you are. And with that discovery, they will discover themselves. They will discover themselves, right? And so, Father, I thank you for them. I thank you for the young people. I thank you for each and every person, even if there's someone that is of a different generation that might be listening to this, that it's not too late. The fact that they are here today, the fact that they're listening to this today, it is not too late to follow the dreams that you've placed in them. I don't care how small or big this dream is. Everyone has a dream like Joseph, and it just takes one moment for you to show them, for them to get that excitement and that passion for life and their relationships. So, Father, I thank you. Elohim, I thank you. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Well, I want to thank you again, Jordan, for coming on, sharing your wisdom and your knowledge. I want to thank all the listeners who are on live and even those who are catching it in the replay. Make sure you click the link in the show info and join on to Jordan's webinar. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be amazing. God bless
Also, I
you.
think I sent. Did I send? I also sent a link if anybody wants to talk to me.
Yes.
I think I sent you a link. Is it
Yes, I actually put that up there too. So his
Right.
Calendly link is up there. If you want that 15-minute introductory call, you can get it with Jordan and he can talk with you and get more deeper into the purpose that God has put in your life. So that's awesome. Thanks again, Jordan, and God bless everyone.
God bless. Thank you for having me, bro.
No worries.